I want to keep duplicating and plugging you guys into promotions that are already there. So has anyone seen the Fiji Challenge promotion? Just show of hands.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
A couple have. So, yep. So this is actually a pretty cool one. I had a quick look at the details, but from my brief understanding, it's if you can generate 10,000 business volume in the next 3 months, you get basically an all expenses paid trip to Fiji, right? So if you think about that, you divide 10,000 business volume by 600, which is like one president's pack. That's equivalent to helping 30 people in 3 months. 30 people in 3 months, and you get a trip to Fiji. Like, do you hear what I'm saying? So, it can be that simple. And, you really sit back and you leverage the promotions that are here. In the same way, Linda leveraged the promotion by jumping into ISA Derby. Now she's going on an all expenses 5-star trip to USA with 2 of her girls. So is Rob and Rhea. When you really step into these promotions and you actually, make them part of your monthly or quarterly or annual schedule and you can pre-plan them, then this becomes really quite easy because you start picking up things that are already there, and also their incentives as well, right? So we get driven by incentives. They're things that you'll see a lot of people are using the Fiji challenge as a way to attract people. And me and Tali were talking about this with lifestyle. It's like, well, who wants to come on a trip to Fiji with us? So we're already setting the intention that we're going to go. And then you start attracting people that want to go with you. And then you start to get a chance to talk about the business. And if you're, embodying what you say you're doing, or you're being honest enough to say, hey, let's do it with me, and you're leveraging the success of others, then it creates that social proof where you can start to move people to do this. In the same way, I'll use you again, Linda, with you and your girls. You weren't yet at a stage where you had the social proof yourself, but now you've got 3 of you that are at that level, and it becomes easier and easier and easier, right? So it becomes easy to convince or, to influence people. So we've also got, what else have we got coming up? We've got ISA Body Challenges, the Success Summits coming up. When you get to director, so say someone like Beck or Brendan, once you get to paid as director, there's this whole director pool of money that you can tap into. So that's down here. The executive leadership pool, so maybe someone like you, Linda, or the Lovies, when you stay at paid as director for a period of time, you start accessing all this other income. And I think Gabrielle Dean had this the other week where she got paid like $15,000 in 1 week just through the executive pool bonus. So by being a paid as executive, right? So how sick would that be? 15K in your bank account for just helping 10 people, help 2 people and staying there. Plus a bit of work underneath. So all groovy. We're all up to date with that. So Fiji Challenge, start having a think with your team, how you can start to promote that and get into that. And what I want to share with you tonight is this was huge because, and this is pretty much firsthand knowledge from some guys that are really leading this space. So as an example, this knowledge is from Roger Hamilton. So he runs the Entrepreneurs Institute in Bali. He's tapped into these masterminds and networks with your Tony Robbins type people, with your Richard Branson networks. He's going to Necker Island. So these concepts are really about how to go one to many. And I think this is so pertinent to network marketing because what me and Tully were sitting there, like we went there to create the big vision, but we sat back and we were like, network marketing is an exponential business. You get given a system, you get given the products, you get given the other stuff. All you have to do is go create your own identity and align with the vision, and then go and help 1 person, help 10 people, help 100, and then basically get paid by the amount of impact that you have. And you start to realize that, I can probably impact 100 people myself, but if I help 10 people, I can get to 100 a lot quicker than if I do 100 people by myself. So the ability to be exponential is pretty important, right? So this is what I really want to touch on. And there's one story that I just want to read to you because I love stories, and it'll make this seem really, really relevant as we go through this. So there's a story about when chess was invented. So the rice and the chessboard story. So there's a famous legend about the origin of chess that goes pretty much like this. So when the inventor of the game showed it to the Emperor of India, the Emperor was so impressed by the new game and said to the man, "Name your reward." So the man responded, he said, "Well, Emperor, my wishes are pretty simple. I only wish for this. Give me a grain of rice for the first square of the dashboard or the chessboard, 2 grains on the next square, 4 on the next, 8 for the next, and so on and so forth until all 64 squares with each square having doubled the number of grains as the square before, has been filled. So the emperor agreed. He goes, oh, that sounds simple. Amazed the man had asked for such a small reward, or so he thought. After a week, his treasurer came back and informed him that the reward would add up to an astronomical sum, far greater than the rice could conceivably be produced in many centuries. So basically, what would have happened is 1 rice, 2 rice, 4 rice, 8 rice, 16, 32. By the end of 64 squares, there would be enough rice to completely fill the entire geographical basically boundaries of India. That's how much rice they would need to pay this guy. So he knew the ability to go exponential was this ability to duplicate and go from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16. And this is so cool because this is what we do in network marketing, right? But a lot of us are so stuck in our own head that thinking that we have to go 1-to-1. We have to go one chessboard at a time, like one piece at a time, one piece of rice at a time, versus this concept of saying, I'm going to help myself, I'm going to help one person, then I'm going to help them help 2 people, and then I'm going to help them help 2 people, and so on and so forth, right? And that's where the duplication thing is so powerful. And I guess what it says here is we're all like the emperor in some ways. We find it hard to grasp how fast functions like doubling make our numbers grow. So these functions are called exponential functions and are actually found everywhere around us. Compound interest, inflation, moldy bread populations, or mosquitoes like me and Brendan were talking about before. And something really interesting is this little metaphor of like lilies filling a pond. So he said a particular lake has water lilies growing on it. On the first day there is 1 lily. Each day the number of water lilies doubles. After 30 days, the water lilies cover half the lake. How long do you think before it covers the next half of the lake till the whole lake is full? It's only 1 more extra day. So on the 31st, the first 30 days, it covers the first half of the lake. On the 31st day, it covers the other half of the lake. And this is really pertinent to our businesses as well, because a lot of us are just starting to fill in just a little bit of the lake, and then we stop. But if we just keep that consistency going and just keep that momentum going, then we get to the half of the lake, and all of a sudden there's this tipping point. And I noticed the tipping point in my business probably year 2, year 3, and it just freaking grew without me. And they got to the point where it brought in, I think, 35K. Well, I think it was like 15K in 1 week. And I sort of looked at it and I was like, holy shit. But all that had happened is we built community, and then the community was out there impacting more people, and there were all these empowered leaders in the network, and it just became easier and easier. So like it becomes hard to get your first 2, 3 or 4 leaders, but all of a sudden you got 5 or 10 and they've got their 5 and 10. And then all of a sudden you just you just look down and there's just so many people duplicating, right? So this is what I wanted to really chat with you about, exponential entrepreneurs, is this concept. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
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 Any comments or any questions? Just chuck them in the chat box, and we'll keep plugging away. So what I think a lot of people get stuck with in this business is they're still stuck in this linear model. It's like, I have to help everybody. Jen Jeffries had a great example as a naturopath. She helped 400 people by herself, and her business was earning like $500 a week, because it's still, a network was only 400 deep, right? Or 500 deep, because no one was duplicating, because it was all about her being the expert. And there was like 18-year-olds like, Caitlin Howard, who'd gone to executive and was making like 1,000 or 2,000 a week. And she'd only helped maybe 80 people, but there were like 500 to 1,000 people in her network, because she understood something that Jen didn't. Jen was trying to be the expert, go 1-to-1. Caitlin was all about duplication and leverage, and like leveraging other team members and calls so that she could then help other people. So it became really simple. So that's a big disruption I want to have with you guys, is to go from being linear thinkers of how many people can I help to how many people can help them help. And then think 1 level, think what happens 2 levels, think 3 levels, think 4 levels deep, think 5 levels deep. And obviously you have to earn the right to create that level of leadership, because you have to do it first yourself, and then you have to lead 1 or 2 people, then you have to help them lead 1 or 2 people, or so on and so forth, to then get that sort of exponential effect. So that's pretty key. Now, probably the hardest thing as well is in health and wellness. This is a health and wellness business. This is a lifestyle business. If you're not healthy and you're not living the lifestyle, then you're not going to attract anybody. And it becomes hard work, because you're pushing, right? You become very product focused. You become very compensation plan focused. You become very money focused. And we all know that when we smell that, we're like, we go to a doctor and he's teaching us how to lose weight and he's overweight. We're like, sorry, man, I'm not going to listen to you. Like, they won't tell you, but they'll lose trust in you. So, but if you show up and you just keep embodying that thing, and even be honest and be like, hey, I'm on the journey as well. Come with me, or I'm already there. Like, you know, Brandon, we were talking about it the other day. Like, he's just moved to Bali. More people are going to notice that he's living the lifestyle. He quit his job. His boss is like, man, I'm surprised you quit your cushy job. And he's like, but now his boss or his GM is asking him about what he's doing because he's moving to Bali and he's actually embodying and stepping into everything that he thinks and does, right? Plus, if you look at him, he looks healthy, right? So he's going to all these places. Like, we went to Wanderlust today, and he's going to start creating that attraction, right? So all he needs to do now is really create his own attraction and an offering around that, so that he can then funnel people into coming and looking at this. Now, this is probably the most important slide, is this concept of the impact meter. And I keep bringing it up because this is the power of zero, right? So I want you to think, like, write on a piece of paper now, just write, put the number 1 on the piece of paper and put your name next to it, because you are your first customer, right? And give yourself a rating from 0 to 10 as to how much you actually embody health and how much you embody like the freedom lifestyle or the type of lifestyle that you're trying to put out. So put it like a 0 to 10 score for your health and a 0 to 10 score for lifestyle, right? Because that'll give you a massive clue as to why you may or may not be attracting people. And then the next thing is go, well, write sort of just off to the side on that piece of paper, how many people you have helped personally so far. So for me, I know it's like 112 people, right? So I write that down, 112 people. Now what I want you to do is, as a rough estimate, or if you know the number, go have a look at it, write down how many people are in your downline. And, you know, to say someone like you, Andrew, I can see you've jumped on, you might notice that you've got to consult and you've already helped, like, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 people, but there might actually be about 15 to 20, maybe more people in your downline already. Yeah. And you start to go, well, shit, how'd that happen? Yeah. So, and the thing is what happens is everybody is building 2/3 of their business together. And then all you have to do is you have to learn how to build the other 30 of your business by yourself. And that's where people fall down, because they can do it in one business. They just can't do it in the other business center. And it's usually because in this one, you're building with team and you're leveraging. But then when you go and try and do it by yourself, you're trying to do it by yourself. So you forget about the thing that got it started in the first place, which was leveraging and working and building community, right? So now for anyone that's got to 10 people, what I want you to do is you've got 1. Now above that, put 10. And either tick or cross as to whether you've helped 10 people personally. And then above, and just think, like, what did it take to get to 10? You know, for me to get to my first 10 people, I started and I said, to get to 4 people, I said, who wants to do a detox with me? And 3 of I actually had 8 people put their hand up. 3 of them actually did it with me. So I had my first 4 people in the first week just by saying, who wants to do a detox with me? That was my strategy, right? And it was a do it with me process versus, hey, buy this product as well. So that can be quite cool. And when they ask you, like, what is it? You're like, well, shit, I haven't done it yet, but I've seen all these stories. Have a chat with this person or that person, and make a decision for yourself. And then to get to the next, the first 10 people, I remember it was I started attracting a lot of people because actually I had my own really good health result. And then, you know, Glenn's lost 8 kilos and Tully's had a change and Tommy's lost close to 10 kilos. So then we created attraction, right? So I was my first customer, had my first 3, and then the other 6 to 10 came very easily. So it went from 0 to 10 to 20, like, pretty quickly, but it was because of results, right? So then after that, after 10, put in 100. And if you've got to 100, tick or cross how you did that. So tick or cross. So just a show of hands, who's got beyond 100 customers personally? Yeah, Lockie and a couple others. Because this is really important. It's like, be your best customer, help your first 10. So go from a level 1 business, which is you are solving the problem for yourself, embody what you are. Level 2, help your first 10 people through attraction. Create attraction. Who wants to do it with me? Who wants to try this out? That's your proof of concept, yeah, that you can actually help other people do it. Then level 3 is then going, well, Now can I help 100 people? Now you could sit there and just right next to it was your strategy to get to your first 100 people. One, did you enroll 100 people yourself, or did you enroll 20 people and X amount of people shared it? So just have a think. What was your strategy? Was it one-to-one, or is it one-to-one with a little bit of duplication? And my gut feeling is for most people to get 100, they may find that there's already people on their team that are starting to build with them. So they're getting 100 people in their downline without even doing much, especially if you're building as teams and building momentum. Or maybe you want to do it all yourself. And if you did it all yourself, like Jen Jeffries, you probably found it hard, right? Yep. So then level 3, put the next one above that is level 4, or 1,000 customers. So who's got to 1,000 customers in their downline? Not yet? Okay. So this is really important as well, because if you're level 1 to level 2, then that's what you focus on. You focus on doing the simple stuff. Your level 2 to level 3, you focus on that. Your level 3 to level 4, you focus on that. It becomes really simple. But the conversation becomes different from going from 100 customers to 1,000 customers. Because imagine if you went and tried to sign up 1,000 customers by yourself, it'd be pretty hard, right? Yeah? It'd be really freaking hard. And that's not how network marketing works. However, if you start to duplicate from like level 1, level 2, level 3, all of a sudden getting to 100 and 1,000 becomes really easy because you're doing it together. It's like that chessboard, right? It's like 1, then it's 2, then it's 4, then it's 8, then it's 16. And then all of a sudden it's like it's only gone 10 steps, but you've all of a sudden got, close to 1,000 people in your business already, right? Whereas some people are taking 100 steps, they've only got 100 people in their business. So this is what I want you to really understand is this concept of duplication. And I'll share some strategies later as to how we best do that, but I just want you to really get that. Now, level 4, level 5 is 10,000 customers. This is when you've got this massive community that's sort of filling in on itself, right? When you get to level 5 to level 6, that's Kylie Donaldson. She's got 100,000 customers in her downline. Guess what she did to get there? Her strategy to go from level 5 to level 6 was to launch in different countries. So then she started to get roots in the UK. She started to get roots in Canada, New Zealand, Australia, etc. Right? So the strategy is like go local first. So help yourself, help your immediate family, help them help their immediate families and communities, and you can get to probably 100 or 1,000 pretty quickly. And you want to master your local market in the same way Facebook mastered Cambridge and Harvard University before they went on and took on the world, right? So you need to master your local community. So Andrew, master Albany, man. No one's doing that. Lockie, Melbourne. No one's actually doing that with that level of consistency. Wodonga. There's probably 30,000 people in that town alone, right? So if you actually become that consistent go-to person for it, people, as they're going on the timing of their journey, or their health journey, they'll come to you when they're ready. In the same way, I've had people with knee pain for 3 years and they see me in the 4th. Do you know what I mean? Even though I've seen them for 3 years and I've seen them hobbling around, they're not actually ready and willing for change until they're inspired to do it themselves, right? So we hold that space for them with that identity. We keep sharing stories. We keep being an inspiration. We keep sharing the cake, not the recipe. We're not product focused. We're customer focused. We're story focused. And this way you can create that attraction and then you can create that impact. So just got a couple of quick questions in the chat box. Double cleanse this week. Well done, mans. So jelly, want to live in Bali. You can come over here. And Mandy, yep, 100 person enrolled. Yep. So you can talk about it in 2 ways. You can talk about, because obviously you get paid on your business volume, right? So to get 100 customers, like yes, you could do it yourself, or yes, you could do it by duplicating, getting there a lot quicker. And that's what I want you to really see is that 100 customers by yourself takes a shitload of time. 100 customers duplicating 1, 2, 3 levels deep, you could probably do really, really quickly, right? And that's like someone like Anna Richards, if you want to model her story. She came and she just leveraged the shit out of Peter Kelly straight away and kicked ass. And she was like, even though she had all the knowledge, the social media, she'd done all the self-development, she just kept it simple. So this is the other thing, right? So once you've helped yourself, you want to help others. But the truth is that you've also got to figure out where you are mentally, because you can only serve to the level of your mindset. So there's a big reason. There is a massive, massive reason why we give everyone the 4 agreements, because the foundation level is mastering personal flow. I've had this conversation with Andrew and the guys at the cafe and Lockie and everyone is like, you will unconsciously sabotage yourself if you have not mastered yourself. If you have not mastered if you're not in the process of being conscious of mastering your health, if you're not being conscious of mastering your own wealth. So it's like, have you got your personal finances sorted? Do you know what comes in, what goes out every week? Or are you just floating around? You know, like because the thing is, if you can't master your foundation, you've got leaky plumbing. You've got leaky plumbing with your health. People notice that. You've got leaky plumbing with your wealth. You're not going to attract people that want to be abundant, right? So got to get your foundation sorted. And then I guess from that, we then go into building this identity, which is moving up this wealth spectrum, right? Whereas we've mastered our personal value. So we're no longer playing the game of like, are we valuable enough? Are we worthy enough? Am I worth $100 now? Am I worth $500 now? You start to actually embody that. You've read The Millionaire Mindset. You've read T. Harv Eker's stuff. You've read Rich Dad Poor Dad. You've read Think and Grow Rich. You've had these audio books on repeat for freaking years. And then all of a sudden you actually start to take action, embody it into your human experience. And then all of a sudden your foundation's sorted, right? And if you haven't, then go master that. And if you haven't yet figured out that you're worthy, then go master that. Yeah. And there's a reason why they call this a self-development program with a compensation plan. And I was chatting with Brendan about this today. Like, some people don't wake up until year 3 or year 4 because this community just holds the space for them to be healthy and for them to grow their personal value and their personal worth to a point where they actually go, fuck, I can do this myself. And they start to work as a team. They stop blaming everyone, and they start vibrating this vibration of gratitude and service. And they're customer centric. They're not product focused. They're focused on solving problems, not focused on selling their agenda. You know, and they start looking at it and go, well, shit, if I want to be abundant, I need to help. If I help 100 people, I'll make X amount of money. If I help 1,000 people, I'll make X amount of money. Do I do it by myself, or do I do it with others? Obviously, if I do it with others, I get there quicker. And that's where you can start to really move up really quickly, right? And when you get to the green level, which is a performer, is when you start managing a team. So you can start to be a puppeteer. So I'm sort of hovering between the yellow and green level with this, because it's like, well, I've jumped on the pitch. I've been on the pitch for 4 to 5 years. I've earned the right. But now it's like we've had periods where our team is going bananas. We've had periods now where our teams have gone off and created their own teams, which is the ultimate compliment, because it means they're so freaking self-empowered that they go and do it themselves, but they still keep feeding back into the community, as we all do. So it's like you create these little duplicating pods of businesses, and that's where this can really start to build without you. So just be mindful of that. And I just want to share some strategies, because this is going to happen with you over the time. And you might get to a point where you get offended if people leave your community, but it just means that they're probably ready to go either build their own. But what I'd recommend is like, keep leveraging. This is a leverage-based business. Like, someone else jump on BFREE Monday next week. Someone else bring a Rhonda Swan in, and just leverage the systems that are there. That way you can go on a 3-month holiday and still make money, and things keep ticking along in the background. It doesn't become another job, right? So that's something that's also really cool to note. Now, I talked about this sort of like how to get this abundance, right? Because we're all here to make money. Let's be freaking honest. We're here to make money. We're here to like channel money through us so that we can do these ideal lives. We can serve our family. We can do all this type of thing. We know network marketing is the highest paid industry in the world, above all the Hollywood stars, everything, right? We know that 80% of women earning over $100,000 a year are in network marketing. The other thing that me and Tal figured out at this exponential entrepreneur event was that there are a lot of businesses that were saying they were doing $100,000 in profit or $1 million in revenue. And basically their business is evaluated at 10 times their revenue. So how much money they bring into the top end. So it's like $1 million business that brings in $1 million in revenue is evaluated at $10 million or thereabouts. However, if you're making $100,000 in residual income through your network marketing business, if you make $100,000, that's a 6-figure income earner, right? Then for that $100,000, you probably had to, in your downline, there's probably been like at least $1 million plus of products consumed for you to make $100,000. So your network marketing business then becomes, that $100,000 business is a $10 million evaluation. If you were then to go sell this asset to someone else, that's how much it's worth. So when you make $100,000 in network marketing, it's the equivalent to building a traditional business that is now worth a valuation of $10 million. The only difference is as this grows and as you duplicate, you get more time, you become location free, you develop residual income, which like me allows me to live in Bali and then do other things, right? Whereas when you build a business, you end up just building this monster that requires more and more time. And as it gets bigger and you get more and more employees, you get less and less time. Yeah, and you get more and more stress, right? So it made me and Tully realize that we are part of an exponential business. And this is about 20 years ahead of the rest of the world. And that was like this big sort of like shit, like aha moment. So just have a think where you are at the moment. Like, are you still mastering personal value? Cool. Go do the self-development books. Get that shit over and done with. Go talk to people. Get vulnerable. Like, deal with that shit. Like, just get it out of the way, right? Get to a point where you're solid and you're like, this is me, this is who I am, this is my identity. Master your personal cash flow. Make sure that you know if you can master your own money, then you can start to, that's you are your own business to begin with. If you can't master that, then you're not even going to be able to master a networked enterprise where all that shit's done for you. It goes in your ISA wallet, comes in your bank account. So start to really think about that, right? And then once you earn the right to be on the pitch, that's when you get a real clear identity. And I had someone, Mon Alfing, who's in our group. She came up to me today. She's been self-developing for 2 years. She finally decided, right? She'd done all the self-development work. She said, I'm the modern hippie. That's who I am. So now she goes around and she interviews people, shares value about how people like me and other people live this modern hippie lifestyle. So now she's starting to attract all these people that want to know how she does what she does. And she talks about network marketing and so on and so forth. So then it funnels into her rather than funneling into Lockie or funneling into me or other people, because she's got this uniqueness that attracts people to her. So have a think about that as well. Like, when you get to that point where you master your own shit, then you want to master your own identity, and then you create real attraction. And that just becomes a decision to say who you are. Like, Lockie, what makes you different to every other personal trainer? Brendan, what makes you different to everyone else who's worked in a job and goes to the gym and is doing PT and is partnered with a nutritional company and doing investments, right? You're this sort of like, you're a conscious, healthy, forward-thinking, like business person in a sense, right? Who's interested in impact over income, you're interested in health over other stuff, right? But you can create a business out of that. But you just need to be able to communicate that through your own authentic story and attract to you. Now, the simplicity of all of this is, if you started to become an exponential entrepreneur with your own traditional business, you have to create the systems to multiply. You have to create the systems to multiply, right? To go to one to many, you'd have to go create this. Isagenetics have the fastest way to master the compensation plan is the executive roadmap. Same thing, right? It's exactly what we talked about before. You share, they share. If you share, they share, you get to 6 people. There's your first, that's you, and then your first 6 people, right? And you also move up the executive roadmap, and then the compensation plan opens up. You get like a $250 bonus, you get a $750 bonus, so on and so forth, right? So if you actually listen and model the systems, you can leverage this compensation plan quicker than anyone else, because Isagenetics gives 50% of their profit back to their people. 50% of their profit. They're set to be $1 billion company this year. When I started, they were a $200 million company per year, maybe $300 million, right? And have a think about that, because they're going to grow exponentially. They're in 16 out of 88 countries. Think of them as an exponential business. Imagine how big that pool is going to get as UK grows, as Netherlands grows, as Spain grows. These guys are populations of like 1 million plus people. The model and the social proof is already in Australia. It's already in America. It's already in Canada. Fasting is becoming a conversation. Ayurvedic and whole food supplements are becoming more and more common. It's becoming, it's an easier conversation now. So this is actually going to pass a tipping point again on a global sense. And every country usually has like a 2 to 3, maybe a 5-year cycle where it like builds, boom. Usually 4th to 5th year, like the UK, it'll take off. So if you're getting seeds in now and you're getting the consistency and starting to duplicate, yes, it'll be like your 10 to 100, but then all of a sudden that 100 becomes 1,000, 1,000 becomes 10,000, because you get into these markets quite early, right? But obviously master your local, and then it gives you earn the right to go do something global. And then so the simplicity is help 10 people, help 2 people. It's like, if you really want to make this compensation plan super, super simple, it's help 30 people. Help 10 people, help 2 people each. I think that's the math. Something like that, 30 to 50 people, right? And then everyone goes, well, shit, I don't know how to do that. The big question is how? How do I do it? And this is where you got to treat this like a 12-month apprenticeship. Like, you want to learn a new skill. In the same way, you're going to go spend the next 5 years of your life running a business or building a traditional business that has a survival rate of like less than 5% over 10 years, or less than 15% over the next 5 years. Would you be prepared to invest 12 months and a shitload of time on yourself and your own self-value, self-worth, learning to leverage, learning to build your own identity, and learning these systems, and like really learning these systems to the point where you know Isagenetics business back to front, and then you know how to take one person through it, because this is where the business opens up. Same thing, 0, like 1, you are your first customer. So the health side is easy, right? 0, 100, 1,000. But the business side, you being your first business builder, then attracting your first 10 business builders, then attracting your next 100 business builders, that becomes challenging, right? However, you can get from you being your first business builder to your first 10. Obviously, you can go and help 10 people share it with 2 people, and you're going to find a mixture of product users and product sharers. The stats are that maybe 5% of those people actually become real business builders over your time, and they generate 80% of your income long term. And it just so happens that Reese and Tully were 2 of the ones that I started with that are still here, and I've had others come in that aren't. So you never know who it's going to be either, right? But then all of a sudden, through duplication, I've got Linda's, I've got Lockie's popping into the team, I've got Andrew's popping into the team. So I'm actually getting from 0 to 10 to 100 business builders by building community. And you're doing the same, right? So you're attracting and building into that community as well. And if you're not, it means you're still inwardly focused rather than outwardly focused. Does that make sense? That's helping? Cool. So even on the business builder sense, the first customer is you running the back end, you doing your apprenticeship. And you're not going to do it by yourself, because this is what network marketing is all about. It's like, and most people, they forget to ask for help. They forget to ask for support. And it's either through fear that they think other people's time is too valuable, or it's because of ego and they think that they already know how to do it when they haven't done it yet before. My highest recommendation would be do it with somebody and get them to walk you through the first project. Get them to walk you through the first executive map. Get them to walk you up to director. Get them to walk you up to executive. Now, some people might get it in a month. Some people might get it in 6 months. Some people might get it in 12 months. But if you keep the simplicity of that's how simple it is, the executive roadmap, and he's building, 0, 10, 100, 1,000, then one day you just get it. And then you run the system once. And then I help you run the system with one of your people. And then I help them run it with one person. Then you get duplication. Then you can go on a 3-month holiday and, drink martinis and probably see your business build without you, right? But you want to be building that 3 or 4 levels deep. And again, it's probably going to take a year of an apprenticeship, the next year like momentum and self-development and growth. And then each time at each level, you need to level up as a leader as well. You need to become a different person. You're going to get completely different challenges when you've got a community of 1,000 people to when you have a community of 10,000 people. Yeah. And I found in that level, I went into micromanagement because there's so many people here. I wanted everyone to succeed. So I started actually disempowering people by trying to help everyone. Whereas what I should have done is just duplicated and got people to get to the events and get to that type of stuff, and I would have grown a lot quicker. So that's a lesson from me as well, if you're in that stage of going from like 100 to maybe 1,000 or 1,000 to 10,000. Now, the other big thing is, and people forget, is once you've got people in your team, man, lifetime customers. You know what I mean? Like, the thing that made us really grow is we were so conscious about the fact that 95% of people started for health. However, they were attracted by the lifestyle. And that's interesting. So they're attracted by the lifestyle, but they stay for the health. So 95% of people in global celebration, there'll be 5,000 people there next week or 15,000 people there next week. 95% will put their hand up and say they started for the products. But they didn't start for the products, they started to solve a problem for them. So if you start being customer-centric and figuring out what that 95% needs, maybe it's sustained weight management, maybe it's energy whilst they're a busy mum, maybe it's, maybe it's they're scared of having wrinkles. And you've talked about telomere support and how it makes your hair stronger and your nails stronger. Maybe it's they've just noticed your energy and vibration and say, hey, I want that because you've embodied everything that you are. Do you know what I mean? So once you attract those customers, it takes 10 times more energy to find a new one than it does to keep one that you have. And this is a thing that I see all the time, and it annoyed me, but it got me to the point where I was micromanaging their people. I was looking like 3 or 4 levels deep and seeing that people weren't looking after their people and just assuming that they're going to get it. You're a cheerleader. You get paid to be a connector. You get paid to be a cheerleader. The better you are at connecting and leveraging, the better you are at cheerleading, the quicker your business will grow. And again, the system's there. Plug them into the Be Well community. Make sure the number one reason why people get pissed off with Isogenics is because you set them up with an auto ship and money gets taken out of the bank account without anyone having a conversation with them about it. Because they forget the things that they agreed in the first place. Yeah? So that's a big one, because they'll love the products, but if $600 gets taken out of their bank account, they're going to be pissed off at you regardless of the products, because you lose their trust in that instant. Yeah? So if that's one thing that everybody in this team makes sure that they never miss, is making sure that you're communicating with people in that first 3 weeks, and you're setting them up for the next month. You're getting that momentum. You're setting the scene. You're saying the customer journey is you come in and do a 9-day reboot, then we do a 30-day reset, then we're doing 90 days of maintenance. Ice a body challenge. Here's a $10,000 prize. Make it fun. Gamify it. Get them to say who are some friends you can do it with for some accountability, because you get 80% more compliance if you do it. So there's all these little things and all this wording that you can do to actually really inspire people to actually do it and get through it. And the thing is, they get through the first 30 days, they stay. Generally, they stay, right, if they get a good result. If they get through a 16-week challenge, there's like 95% of them will stay. If you help them get their products paid, 95% of them stay, because they see that they've just eaten for free and they've got this health result. You can't exceed their expectations anymore. So like really start to think about that stuff, because if you get the simplicity of this duplicates and multiplies really freaking quickly. But if you miss those basic steps and you lose trust along the way, then it's like your plane's like trying to take off, but then it's grounded. And then you need to go to refuel and re-energize and re-self-value and re-self-worth again. And then you challenge yourself and you go to another Tony Robbins course, and then you try and take off again, right? Whereas if you just kept that momentum going, bit by bit, 1 person, 2 people, 10 people, 100 people, and using the sport, asking for help. Hey, Ross, how do I get to 100 people? Hey, Anna, how do I get to 1,000 people? Hey, Lovies, how do I get to 10,000 people? Who's going from 1,000 to 10,000 people? Let's do it together. Let's work as a team. Because you help 100 people, I help 100 people. Shit, we get it a lot quicker. And this is where, like the business side of things, you hear the Kylie Donaldsons and stuff say is find 5 business builders and run with them. Now, most people can't even find 10 product users, right? But, that's why you've got to get that first 10, that first 100 to potentially have 5 or 10 business builders there. And then you want to pick with them. You want to inspire them, cast a vision, and then you want to work together and work with those 5 people. And do that for one 90-day sprint. Do it for another 90-day sprint. And then you attract more people through their results. Holy shit, Linda just got on an all-expenses-paid trip. Now the other people are like, holy crap, that's real. I want to do that. I want to go to Fiji. So then you run that promotion. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Eric Rory says you just need to speak to 500 people over 5 years, 100 people a year, and you need to run 2 90-day game plans with complete immersion and complete focus, and you create a multiple 6-figure business. And especially if you look at the trends where Isagenix is going and the launch and how that's multiplying from 200 million to 500 million to $1 billion to $5 billion in revenue in the next 5 years, hopefully you're starting to connect the dots. So the whole key for this whole presentation tonight, and one thing, I don't know what the call to action is, but I think just start thinking to yourself, like, what level of the business are you at? What are you missing? Is it a personal value step? Is it a personal worth? Is it a personal leverage step? Is it a personal identity step? Have you not got that foundation? Have you not got your identity or chosen who you are and partnered with this company and said, hey, I'm going to actually help these guys have a bigger impact? If you're looking at going from maybe 100 or 1,000 to 10,000, then you're going, well, shit, how do I get there? And you start to plan it out. You reverse engineer, like we did with the Fiji challenge, 10,000 business volume, I think it is, and you can basically qualify for that. So you're going, well, shit, I just need to sign up 30 President's Pack, like personally enrolled or personal business volume. So that could even mean 10 people that then help 20 people get started. You still get your 30 people, right? That's still 10,000 business volume. So you start thinking like, shit, if I did a challenge where, you plus 2 buddies, and I help 10 people start in the next 3 months, you plus 2 buddies, there's my 10,000 business volume. Boom, done, simple, qualify. So you can really start to make this real simple, right? Or if you find one business builder who enrolls 30 people, shit, you're done. So just if you start to think in those ways and start to attract from that level, then this becomes a lot simpler than what it is, right? Or what we make it out to be. And the reason we make it hard and the reason we blame others is because we're still on that foundation level. We haven't yet jumped into that high vibration and started thinking abundantly. So if you're still battling through that space, get your audiobooks out, put them on repeat, put Think and Grow on repeat, put Rich Dad Poor Dad on repeat, put T. Harv Eker's Millionaire Master Plan Mindset on repeat until you get it. And it'll keep ticking over. And then one day you'll actually embody it. And one day you'll think it, you'll believe it, you'll do it. And then all of a sudden it just becomes easy. And no one can challenge your beliefs. In the same way, me and Brendan were talking about this stuff 4 years ago, and our mindsets were completely different to what we are now. But now we embody it. Now we're living it. Now we're in Bali. Now we're doing these things right, which gives you guys the inspiration to know that shit, if these young dudes can do it, if these young guys can do it, then I can do it. Especially most of you have probably got more knowledge, more nous, more connections, more networks, more trust, right? So that's a really cool thing to do. So probably the key thing is the takeaway for this is really know where you are in the business and focus on the next step. 0 to 10, 10 to 100, and write down what is your next step. 100 to 1,000, right? Write that down and asterisk it. And if you've got to 100 people already, like Lockie, but you still only got 500 people in your downline or something like that, then go, what is the missing step? I need to learn from someone about duplication. So how do I do that? How do I duplicate? And then you just go in as a novice and you show up and say, hey, I don't know. Because if I knew, I'd already be doing it. In the same way, I went to one of the leaders recently, and I was like, man, I need to get to and stay as paid as exec. I can build community, I can do all that stuff, but I can't do that thing. And I had to admit it. I was like, shit, I'll even pay for your service just to walk me to that next step, because there's something in my consciousness where I haven't done it. But as soon as I've done it once, I've got it. And I just need someone to hold my hand and then set me free and become progressively redundant, and then I'm away. And then there'll be a strategy in that, which I can then teach other people, right? So, and that's the other thing as well. Don't feel that you need to go read 1,000,000 books by yourself to figure out the next step. Leverage, leverage, leverage. Systems are there. Events are there. Plug into that. Get your people to events. You don't need to create the events. You don't need to go to Tony Robbins, all that type of stuff if you get in front of David Wood, because they'll be taught the skills specific to this. Cool, cool? All right. So, wrap this up. So, I wanted to share that with you about the exponential entrepreneur and the exponential networked entrepreneur. We are already in the forefront. I had the biggest realization that we're 10, 20 years ahead of all these other freaking experts that are telling us how to create a business. And me and Tully, like I said, man, we had this moment where we just looked at each other. We're like, all these guys with all these degrees and MBAs and stuff, and they've been entrepreneurs for 15 years. And I'm like, man, we've had a bigger impact and we're making more money than them. And we've got our time and we've got all this. I'm like, let's keep following what we're doing. I think they need to be in our lane. And that was a big reinforcement that you guys are in the right place, right? And also health and well-being. And also if you start to look at the trends, all you have to do is decide whether or not you want to help this, or you align with Isagenix's vision, if you want to live this type of lifestyle, and if you think that this is the opportunity in the vehicle that's going to get you there. And if it is, keep it simple, duplicate, leverage the systems, and just go do it. Yeah? And just focus on the next step. Ask for help, ask for support to the next step. And then once someone walks you there, you're going to probably find a different mentor to take you to a different level, and a different mentor to take you to a different level, right? And you have to learn different things at each level. So be prepared for that. Also set yourself up for that 5 to 10 year journey. You know, it's taken me 5 years to get here, but shit, it's worth it. It's really, really worth it, guys. So yeah. Yeah, that's it. Well, what I'll do is open the lines, guys. Does anyone have any questions about how to multiply, how to build this quickly?
No.
What's popping up? So you can take yourselves off mute if you like. Let's have a little bit of Q&A for a couple of minutes, and then I'll let you all go. One, was this valuable? Did this help at all? Did it help you have any aha moments?
Yeah, Roz, it wasn't questions, but more kind of little quotes that you had. Unconsciously sabotage yourself if you haven't mastered yourself. I really liked that. Impact equals income equals influence. I love that. And the other thing was master personal value, so your brand and goals and vision, and then master personal kind of cash flow. I think is I reckon that's really cool.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And again, and knowledge is good. Wisdom is the application of knowledge, right? So we've been in the self-development world and we've been learning and listening for so long, but I don't think any of us need permission anymore to go and do. So like, if you realize your cash flow isn't sorted, like go see a bookkeeper and accountant, get that shit sorted next week. If you realize that your money mindset isn't where it is, go hang around people who have really epic money mindsets and just immerse yourself, be a fish in water, be the dumbest person in the room for the next 3 months and see what happens. It'll rub off, right? What else we got? Who else would like to share? Maybe some takeaways or any aha moments? Hey, Linda, have a go, guys. Spend some time with the family. Awesome. Safe travels, Linda, and enjoy your 5-star all expenses paid trip. You're a legend, and thanks for leading this space as well. Cool. Any other shares? Any other aha moments or nuggets?
All good.
Good to see you, by the way, mans.
You, Roz. Thank you.
How's it up north?
Yeah, it's awesome. Just
Yep.
like I said, just feeling very distracted and out of the loop, but trying to get myself logged back in. So yeah, it's getting easier, kind of.
Awesome. Power of technology. We can do this from anywhere. I'm in Bali, Lockie's in Melbourne, you're in the northwest. I think Andrew's down in Albany in the southwest.
Oh,
Brendan's hiding in the room. So we're all good.
No excuses. It's just being too bloody social and transitioning into a new little town. So no excuses. Meeting lots of new people. All good.
But it's epic as well because you get to create the true identity of yourself as well, right? Like this, I came to Bali, and it's very easy to shed the expectations of others, right? You get to really step into, who you feel that you are, like in your own identity. So that's something probably really cool to play with. And I did a post about that today, Mans, and just be unapologetic as well because you're such a powerful and beautiful woman. So you're going to attract a lot of people to your space, and you're going to be able to help a lot of people up there. So. So anyway, that's good luck with that. If you need any help, just let me know.
Yeah, I might tee up a little time to chat to you.
Cool. All good, guys. Well, I'm going to love you and leave you. In the BFREE page, if you could share as one call to action, maybe what your biggest takeaway was just in that BFREE thread for July 30 for the BFREE Monday. So again, we can start to create a bit of a conversation dialogue in there. What was your one biggest takeaway, and what are you going to do about it? Like, what are you actually going to action this week? So I'll leave you with that. All right, peace out, guys, and I'll see you same time next week. We've actually got Linda jumping on from Nashville, so she's going to share all the insights on global celebration in real time. So that'll be a cool one to plug your team into if you can't get over there.
Awesome.
Thanks, Roz.
Thanks, Rose.
See you guys.
See you guys. Bye.